DSC, it's dynamite.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of O365Eh. In this episode, we're going to be having a follow-up to our podcast 71, which featured Nick Charlebois, who came on the show and was talking about the Microsoft 365 DSC. So we hinted during that session that we were going to be doing a follow-up recording, and also going through sort of like a real-world scenarios with regards to Microsoft DSC and how to utilize it, and some things on the automation side of things. So maybe Dina, why you lead us off and maybe talk to us about your experience with utilizing some of the reporting functionality.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Hab. I guess the first thing about it was my interest in this whole thing. When I first heard about it, was really more from a client discovery and documentation need. So we all go into clients and we're trying to learn about what's going on in their tenant and create some sort of documentation, that type of thing. So that's really the perspective I took when I first started looking at the Microsoft 365 DSC. So specifically, I honed in on one of the PowerShell reports or commandlets called new-M365 DSC Delta report. And what that let me do is, take one of my default out of the box tenants. I could spin up a brand new tenant that was clean, nothing had been changed to it. I could run a report on that tenant and basically build a set of documentation with it, which is great. So now I've downloaded all the settings from the tenant. And then I could take that Delta file and then, use it against one of my customers. And so go on site, I'd have this Delta file created basically with all the settings for my stock tenant, and then run this 365 DSC Delta report at the customer site. And then it would spit out things that were different. So things that were entirely missing from the tenant. So maybe a calling policy or a meeting policy in Teams, for example, or some different other policies, perhaps. It would flag those, and then it would flag things that were there but configured differently. So maybe they did have their global meeting policy in Teams, for example, may have been changed. So, and that's very useful when going in and doing an assessment or looking at, even just looking at documenting a current client site. So, always good to be able to do that. Rather than just sort of manually log in and check all the different settings, which is a very arduous and time-consuming process. This really saves a lot of time. So I think with that, I'll pass it back to you, Hab, and you're going to talk about getting it installed in Azure.
Yeah, thanks. So I guess after I guess we had our own sort of calls and we were talking about like, okay, well, this is really good when running it just individually, through PowerShell, but how do we keep, that sort of script running all the time? And, and maybe, the guys will talk a little bit later on about, some versioning and how you do that. So we said, okay, well, let's try and implement this into Azure Automation. So obviously the first thing you need to do is install the PowerShell modules. And I thought, wow, okay, well, hopefully it'll be just as simple as just installing it as the PowerShell module on your local desktop, which was like install-module Microsoft 365 DSC, and we were good, but it was not the case. So went through, creating a new resource group and all that good stuff for Azure Automation. So just the standard Azure Automation creation within Azure. And then I began looking inside there, and you actually can search the PowerShell gallery from within that. So I was like, perfect. So I installed the Microsoft 365 DSC, and it says, no, can't install this because you don't have all these dependencies installed. So it gave me all the list of the dependencies and the version numbers, and I was like, okay, no problem. Copied that to Notepad, and then I just began installing them one by one. And then finally I got all the dependencies installed, went to run the DSC again. It was like, no, you don't have the dependencies installed. So we're all on the call. We're going through line by line. Is this installed? Yeah. Is this installed? This installed? And what happened was it turns out that you actually have to have the specific version of the dependency that Microsoft 365 DSC needs. So then we were like, okay, well, how are we going to get this into there? So then I was downloading and then I was zipping them up from my local machine and uploading them. And it sort of worked, but I think we were still missing some functionality. And then finally, we found what was the commandlet there, Michael? That it was Azure Automation, like to import the command there. I think there was like an import command to import. We could specify the specific version. And then once we did that, we were able to get everything installed, and I was able to get the Microsoft 365 DSC installed. So that was pretty challenging from that perspective. So then, okay, great, we have the module installed, and then we started to work together on getting this whole DSC running from a runBook perspective. So Michael, why don't you tell us a little bit of that stuff there?
Yeah, I think Javi nailed it right on the head. Like, playing with the DSC, even on my local machine, as it's iterating pretty quickly, all the new versions, all the dependencies, you're using preview PowerShell modules, you're still trying to use other PowerShell modules in your day-to-day. So it was definitely a mess even on my own personal machine, modules installed everywhere, versions all over the place. You uninstall parts, it doesn't install other parts. So when we were looking at doing this in Azure Automation, it was intriguing that we could just spin out an Azure Automation account, throw in the current version, build out your scripts, and then when another version comes out, you can spin out in another automation account, put its own modules in, and then shut down the original one, or kind of go from there, so that you're never really impacting your kind of your scheduled tasks. So when we were looking at it, like Hab was saying, you have to look at the current version of the module. You have to look at all the dependencies and install the exact version that those dependencies are, not newer versions, not older versions. So we came across that new Azure Automation module. So that was the kind of the key. So when I looked on, I browsed the net for other scripts to do this, and I came across Barbara Forbes. She's a Azure MVP that has a PowerShell module that is like update PowerShell modules in Azure Automation accounts. And so I took that module and made quite a bit of changes to tackle our need, because that module is in the purpose of, you already have the modules installed, it just keeps them up to date. What we wanted to do was basically tell it, hey, we want the M365 DSC module, and get all the dependencies and install the dependencies at the correct level, and then install the module we want. So we built a kind of a function around that original code, and it was excellent work on how they were pulling GitHub or PowerShell gallery to get the right versions and put it into a variable and all that. So we use that, and now you create your Azure Automation account, you give it basically the script, you basically just specify your tenant ID, your subscription ID, the automation account, and the resource group. And then it will go to PowerShell Gallery, grab the latest version of the DSC module, all its dependencies, install all the dependencies, wait till each one's installed before going to the next one, because that was another issue we were having when we were doing the click install. Sometimes you can go to the next module, but it hadn't finished the prerequisite. And yeah, I think Hab ran it again this afternoon. It was pretty clean of installing all the modules without pain. And kind of going, so that was to get the base in there. And then we started playing around with, getting that PowerShell command that Dina was talking about earlier, the new M365 DSC Delta report running. So this was, the idea was we have this scheduled task running. It would go and pull the current config from a tenant. It would pull, basically compare to a gold image, and then it would spit out a report. So we played around with it. Things with the automation is there's no access to the actual DSC components in PowerShell, or the event log or the registry. So there was a lot of red errors being sent out to the console that we basically suppressed, because they had no impact in actually generating the report. So we went through that, and we end up getting to the point where we were able to compare the live tenant to a config, and then send out an email report, an HTML report with all our differences. And so with that, maybe we'll pass it to Kurt to talk about how we envision scaling the gold image.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. So, just to take a quick step back in case someone didn't see our last podcast, we're talking about desired state configuration here, which of course is configuration as code, and it's used. PowerShell has used it for a long time now to detect, things like configuration drift on a Windows machine. What we're talking about here is using Microsoft 365 DSC to do this against a tenant and doing it in Azure Automation, so it's all automated. And one of the really cool things you guys did that I thought was really powerful is initially that declarative model of what the gold standard should be for your Office 365 tenant was stored in a variable in the PowerShell script. And I think it was you, Michael, who got it to work so that it pulls that gold configuration from GitHub, so that gold standard configuration is actually stored in GitHub. And the powerful thing about that, once in GitHub, of course, it's version controlled. So that's a great way to actually sort of just version control changes in your tenant. And then you can use that to detect configuration drift, which is really powerful right across the whole M365 ecosystem. Because with the PowerShell modules included in the Microsoft 365 DSC module, you can detect things like whether guest access is enabled in your Azure AD tenant, team scenarios such as whether anonymous attendees can start a meeting. You could dive into SharePoint configuration and pull out and detect drift or changes in configuration which governs external access. So from a compliance and governance and even security perspective, this is a pretty cool way to just version control that and detect drift. So I think that's really, really powerful. Hab, any sort of thoughts in terms of what we've done and the sample code? Are we going to publish it to the blog?
Yeah, so we're going to publish the script to install the PowerShell modules and dependencies in Azure Automation. We're not going to show like how to deploy Azure Automation, but basically just provide you the scripts and in that sense. And then the other sample script that we're going to provide is the our script that actually ran through running the the export configuration and then comparing it against the the configuration within GitHub. So that's basically sort of what the plan is there. Yeah, I know you mentioned we put the actual I guess the configuration within a variable inside the code, and that was basically just to troubleshoot and figure out, hey, can we make it work this way? Which was great. It actually did, and we just took the sample. I think Dino provided us with a sample Teams configuration, and we said, okay, well, how can we do it the full way? So I think it was really it was a really awesome experience. I think frustrating. I think at the beginning, just trying to figure out our way through the weeds, but. I think it was a really great experience of us coming together and trying to figure out how to implement this. So I was really happy with the outcome afterwards.
Loads of fun.
Yes. Yeah. So that being said, thanks everybody for listening in, and hopefully you'll take a look at the instructions there on the blog there for us, and hopefully we'll catch you on our next episode.
Thanks.